Hello, so I'm here again with Lauran Beth. Thanks for coming on, Lauran.
Thanks very much for having me, Dylan.
Yeah, so obviously you've been on the show before, but I suppose just to kind of get things started, can you give us a bit of an introduction to your music? Can you tell us what it's all about and how you would describe it to someone that hadn't heard it before?
Right, well, I'm Lauran Beth. I'm 18. I'm from Offaly. And I guess my music is genre-wise kind of a bit of everything. I mean,
Mm,
I'm inspired by older 80s music, by modern music, by some rock elements,
okay.
pop elements, every genre. So I kind of just kind of go along with it and see what vibe I'm feeling with. With lyrics, a lot of my songs kind of represent how I feel and how I perceive the world around me. So that's kind of what I try to make in music.
And are there any genres that you kind of drift towards, and are there any particular artists that you would kind of look to for inspiration, or does it come by the day?
Well, it really depends on the day. I mean, I'm a big fan of 80s music,
Okay.
um, and synth pop, and kind of new artists who use synth pop like the 1975 kind of use
Okay.
it in their own unique way. But I'm also interested in kind of modern pop alternative kind of a mix. Like Melanie Martinez is another big artist, which I, get inspiration from. But a lot of my music, I think it just comes from what kind of vibes I'm feeling and what
Yeah.
kind of things I want to write about. So yeah, bits of inspiration here and there.
And give us the story of what got you interested in music and what got you to a stage where you started recording professionally.
Well, I was always hearing music growing up, and I always had an interest in music. But I got a guitar when I was 12, and it kind of just took off from there. Um, I got into like kind of more rock music, like Green Day, Nirvana, Paramore
Yeah.
was another big inspiration. Got into kind of more heavier music like that from a young age. So I kind of was so influenced by that, and I thought, wow, this is so cool. Like I kind of want to make music and be in the music world like that. So I kind of from learning how to piano and you was just kind of thought like, oh, this is such a good way to like express myself and how I feel, and it's just a bit of crack as well. So from a young age, it just music was always kind of a release for me, really.
Okay. And do you think that music is kind of an outlet for you to kind of express your thoughts on something or what you're thinking about a
Definitely a
particular
bit.
issue?
Yeah, definitely a bit. I feel like sometimes when I find it hard to talk about certain things or to express my emotions, I write about it, and that
Yeah.
kind of I feel like when you're writing music and you're singing, you're kind of coming from a place that is not necessarily directed to you.
Yeah.
So you feel more confident to speak about issues because it doesn't sound like it's coming from you. So I definitely use music a lot to kind of get how I really feel out there because it kind of gives me the confidence to speak
Mm.
about my emotions.
So, as we discussed in our past interviews, you got involved with the Beardfire music label and released a few singles. Recently, you released your third single called Shadow Doll. So, can you tell us a little bit about that and where it came from?
Yes, well, I remember writing Shadow Doll at like 2 o'clock in the morning, as I always do, and I was kind of just a bit annoyed because if you listen to Shadow Doll, it's kind of about a relationship you have, whether it be a friendship or like a family relationship or whatever it be, just your connection with someone who doesn't have your best intentions at
Okay.
heart and who is just a bit of a not nice, toxic person overall, and
Yeah.
kind of learning how to grow to have the confidence to deal with that in a mature way and kind of realize your worth. So I was kind of annoyed after a few situations I had with a few people, and I picked up my guitar at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write about this because I could give out and give out all day, but writing is what really helps me to kind of get over issues as well as
Yeah.
express. So I picked up the guitar and I kind of wrote the song within an hour or two, and I just kind of left it there. And then when the idea came up with releasing and recording another song, I was like, you know what, Shadow Dog would be a good tune to kind of, because I feel like once it's out in the public, I can really let it go and be content with the issues I talk about. So I
Okay.
was like, you know, Shadow Dog might be a good song, and I know it's an issue kind of that everybody deals with, you know, having somebody in your life that is just not nice and
Yeah.
learning to deal with them. So that's kind of where it all came from.
And in terms of your first single that you released, just Breed Baby, like it was very kind of lighthearted and very kind of poppy, let's say. I kind of over time,
Yeah.
your music has become a bit darker. Was that on purpose, or was that something that just kind of happened over time?
Well, a lot of the songs I've released, I've written in a similar time frame. I got kind of go through phases of writing where I'll write like loads of songs in the space of
Okay.
a month. And then I mightn't write a song in another 6 months. And then I could spend 2 weeks writing about 20 songs. So a lot of the songs, 11 Years and Just Breathe Baby, were written in a similar time frame. So I think they kind of expressed how I was feeling at the time,
Mm.
but also I've kind of become more comfortable with sharing, you know, how I really feel about situations and my inner issues publicly by
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
music. You know, when I released Just Breathe Baby, like obviously it speaks about problems you have like with anxiety and so on and so forth, but I think I've kind of grown to become more confident to share more issues that I really feel deeply about and affect me. So I think as time goes on, in 11 years and Shadow Dog were released, I kind of just learned, you know what, just speak what you feel. So I guess you could say that I've learned to kind of express myself more as my music has evolved.
So we spoke on the podcast during the summer, and we were talking a bit about what has changed during lockdown, during quarantine, all that kind of thing, how that affected your music. Can you tell us a bit about, has anything changed since? Have you been practicing much in the past few months? Do you have any kind of ideas or anything in the backlog, let's say?
Well, I've just more or less been, you know, obviously with restrictions and stuff, it's hard to get out and play music in person or, you know, to perform and share music with other people. But for myself, I guess I definitely have been writing more music and I've been kind of becoming more comfortable with kind of writing in different genres or using different styles, singing about other issues I haven't spoken about before. And I guess I just really developed as a songwriter
Mm.
in terms of, you know, the way I write things and the songs I create. So I suppose ever since the podcast in the summer, I've just been trying to develop as a songwriter
Yeah.
and how I express my language. And then obviously Shadow Doll was released, and that was a really good project to kind of, you know, get in touch with my music side when all of these restrictions were going on. So I've just kind of been I released Shadow Doll and developing my music in other ways.
So, you mentioned that you're trying to kind of expand your horizons a bit and write a bit more. Do you think that the restrictions have been positive or negative when it comes to writing?
Well, in terms of everything else, it's definitely been negative, you know, and my heart goes out to people who've been directly affected by it. But in terms of my personal writing, I would say it's been a positive experience. Because I mean, I've had time, you know, you're in the house 24 hours a day, you know, what
Yeah.
else can you do? But kind of focus on the talents that you want to become better at and improve on. So I've definitely had a lot of time to kind of learn more about songwriting, learn more about actual music, and kind of develop my songwriting skills and just kind of get more creative. You
Mm.
know, I've had the time to kind of just express myself more and actually get to sit down and write songs that I think, God, this actually isn't that bad. So I think with the restrictions and lockdown and etc., writing, it did have a positive effect on me in that way.
In terms of the overall music industry, I think that a lot of people have had a very difficult time, in the sense of they can't go out and perform, they can't, they can't busk, or they can't go and do live performances or anything like that.
Hmm.
What would be your opinion and your experience of that? And are you kind of hoping that things become safer in the near future?
Well, obviously, I really hope that things become more safe and we can learn to play music in a physical setting
Yeah,
again. But at the end of the day, like, social media and the internet are wonderful, wonderful things, and it's wonderful to have them now in such strange and seemingly dark times. So I think while it is sad to kind of not have that experience of physically seeing people and playing music in the flesh, I think it's really, really good to be able to share your music. Like, if you share your music on social media, people from all over the world can see it.
yeah.
People of all different, areas, backgrounds, life backgrounds, and so I think while it is sad that live gigging and stuff isn't really going on at the moment, we have to kind of appreciate and show gratitude for the things we do have, that
Yeah,
being
yeah.
the internet, worldwide platform where you can share your music. So I don't know. I think it is good and it is bad at the moment.
So, do you think that, would you be optimistic in terms of the music industry, the Irish music industry, post pandemic, let's say? Do you think that people are going to be able to get out and stuff again in the near future?
Definitely, I think obviously there's been development in the vaccine, and I know things may be a bit up and down, but I think eventually we will get to go back to a new normal. Not exactly the exact same as it was pre-COVID, but get to a place where we can meet each other and we
Yeah.
can physically see one another and not be alone and get to enjoy good music. I definitely think that is going to happen. Maybe not for a while, but I like to look on the positive. Try look on the positive side. So hopefully
Okay.
soon.
So, in terms of, on a short term basis, then, what are your own plans or your own goals for the months ahead?
To be honest, I'm just kind of going with the flow. If like with sharing music and playing music, I'm always going to be doing that. But in terms of like writing more music or possibly recording in the future, I'm just kind of like going with the flow and seeing how the next few months pan out.
Yeah.
It's very unpredictable times, so I don't know if I could try and make a plan because God knows what will happen in the future. But I definitely want to, play and share more music as time goes on.
Okay. So, we're almost out of time, but just before we go, if people are looking for you online, where can they search?
Well, I'm all over social media, Instagram, my YouTube channel where I share a lot of covers, um, Twitter, Instagram, I said that, TikTok. A lot of them are just Lauran Beth. If you look up Lauran Beth, you should be able to find me. And yeah, I share all my music all over there. So if you're interested, check it out.
Okay, so this has been Lauran Beth. Thanks for coming on again, and it's been great to get a bit of an update.
Thanks, Dylan. Chat to you
Thank you.
later.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.